Hey everyone, today we're going to finish up chapter 14 and we're going to focus on the large intestine. Now, the large intestine is actually larger in diameter, otherwise known as the width, than the small intestine, but it is actually shorter than the small intestine. It's only about 1.5 meters long. It extends from the ileocecal valve, or otherwise known the one between the small and large intestine, all the way to the anus. The subdivisions are cecum, appendix, colon, rectum, and anal canal, which we're going to talk about next. So again, the first one on that list was cecum. It is a sac-like first part of the large intestine where the appendix can be found. The appendix hangs from the cecum, and it is an area where a lot of lymphoid tissue has accumulated, and it can sometimes become inflamed because bacteria and microorganisms like to collect there as well. When it becomes inflamed, you get something called an appendicitis, where you have extreme pain in the area and they might have to perform an appendectomy or removal of your appendix. The next region is your colon, which is divided into several regions. You have your ascending colon, transverse, descending, and sigmoid. Especially the first three, they help kind of explain where they're located and how they're found. Ascending, think about it. This is the colon that travels up from the abdomen. Then you have to make a turn at something called the hepatic flexure. Then you have your transverse colon, which travels across. Think of a transverse cut. It then turns again at the splenic flexure. And then you have your descending colon. Descending means travels down. And where it empties into your sigmoid, which is an S-shaped region that goes into your pelvis. The end of the sigmoid colon that enters the pelvis then runs into your rectum and then runs into your anal canal. And these three structures are all located within your pelvic cavity. So let's go to this picture next. If we are coming out of your small intestine, here your ileocecal valve right here, you dump into this sac-like first part, your cecum, and it has the little appendix branched off it. From here, it goes up the ascending colon, so ascending colon, where it'll make a hepatic flexure turn, because hepatic means near the liver. The liver is right above it. Where it goes across the transverse colon, again makes the splenic flexure turn, because the spleen is going to be located above it. Down the descending colon, through the S-shaped sigmoid colon, to your rectum, and then through your anal canal. So your anal canal actually ends at your anus, which is just an opening in the large intestine where feces is going to exit out of your body. The anal canal actually has two valves. You have an external and internal sphincter or valve. Your external anal valve is formed of skeletal muscle, and you have voluntary control of this. Think about it. You often have the urge to use the restroom for a number 2, but unless you allow that sphincter to relax, you can hold in the need to use the restroom. However, the internal anal sphincter is formed of smooth muscle, and this is involuntary. Most of the time, these sphincters are closed unless you are doing defecation, or otherwise known as pooping. So there are a couple modifications to the large intestine. In the large intestine, you're going to find a lot of goblet cells, and these are going to be producing mucus that help lubricate the passage of feces. You want to keep that moving throughout your body so you don't get backed up. The other thing is you have your muscularis externa layer is actually reduced into just 3 bands of muscles called tennae coli. And these bands cause the large intestine to form something called haustra, or pocket-like sacs. And this gives the large intestine the look that we see it having. So if I was going to look at it, you can see these pocket-like sacs. Here's one haustra. Here's another pocket, one haustrum. Here's one haustrum. And that is a defining feature that helps you be able to tell the difference of the large intestine when you see it inside the body. In terms of the major function is to dry out any indigestible food residue that's left over, and it does this by absorbing water. In fact, food still has to spend about 12 to 24 hours in the large intestine until it's ready to be eliminated from the body as feces. So in terms of activities of the large intestine, first we have nutrient breakdown and absorption. Well, if you're looking at that category, actually no digestive enzymes are produced. The rest of the food is broken down by bacteria that actually live within the large intestine or live inside that gut. These bacteria help produce vitamin K and some B vitamins, but the thing they're most known for is releasing gases. They release two major gases, methane and hydrogen sulfide, and these contribute to flatulence, or otherwise known as you passing gas. It also contributes to the odor of your poop or odor of your feces. So if you have a really bad smelling, foul smelling odor. Now, everyone always gets laughing and funny when people pass gas, but everybody does it. About 500 milliliters of gas or flatus is produced each day, whether that be a big nice fart or just a very silent but deadly one. Also within the large intestine, vitamins, ions, and water again are absorbed, and any remaining material that cannot be absorbed is eliminated via feces. What exactly is feces, or what does your poop contain? Well, it contains undigested food residue, mucus, bacteria, and water, and just enough water to allow poop to move through the passage. If you get too much water left within your feces, that's when you're going to get diarrhea. If you have too little water, that's when you're going to get constipated. So the propulsion of food residue, or otherwise known as feces, throughout your body. This is actually a very sluggish process of food going through your large intestine. It is very sluggish. Postural contractions are movements occurring most frequently in the large intestine. So I'm going to underline that because that's definitely a question. In fact, postural contractions, this only moves residue from one haustra to the next. It lasts about 1 minute to do this, and it only occurs every 30 minutes, which is why it takes things so long to go through your large intestine. There are also things called mass movements. Mass movements are very slow, powerful movements that occur about 3 to 4 times a day, and this actually helps move the food over larger distances and speeds up that process a little bit. This actually occurs during or just after eating. What helps with mass movements and moving food through your large intestine quickly is bulk or fiber is a very important part of your diet. It helps increase the strength of those colon contractions and helps soften your stool as well. Okay. Also, in terms of propulsion of food residue and defecation, the presence of feces, once it hits the end of your large intestine and drops into your rectum, this causes something called a defecation reflex. This is where your internal anal sphincter relaxes and where it tells you the urge to use the restroom. If that urge is strong enough and you decide to go use the restroom, defecation occurs whenever you relax that external anal sphincter. If you don't relax that external anal sphincter, usually the need to poop subsides. However, with your next mass bowel movement, you're going to get that urge to use the restroom again. So that's the end of today's lesson. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll be more than happy to help. Otherwise, have a good day.